I'm going to be the first to say it and admit it out loud. I love a good rap beef. I know it's not something we're supposed to be saying. We're supposed to be saying we're supposed to be above this and artists shouldn't be fighting with each other. It's dangerous. People can get hurt, harmed, killed, whatever. Like, all that's very, very true. That does not take away from the fact that when I hear two artists are beefing with each other and they're sending lyrical jabs back and forth, I absolutely love it. I love the competition. I look at it as sports. And in theory, it shouldn't double over into violence. Like, it should be a thing where, like, hey, two people can totally disagree and be able to get their disagreements out on record by verbally sparring with each other and it be left at that. I don't think it should go into all this extra stuff where it's like, oh, two camps are now going at each other and fighting each other at award shows. Like, all that stuff is not necessary. But beef itself, I love it. Like I said, I treat it as like a sport. It's great to see two competitors vying to see who can put out the best lyrical jab at the other person. And let's be real, people watching people fight has been around forever, since back in like the Roman days when people had gladiators and were going to gladiator shows to see people like knock each other's heads off. So I look at rap beef as a gladiator sport. Now, as of late, 2024, I don't know if it was Cat Williams' interview that started off with like comedy beef or what, but it's only February. If you're listening to this now, when I recorded it, it's February. And already there have been some major beefs that have happened. For me, it started off with Eminem. Like Eminem, who back in the day was going after Ja Rule and the Murder Inc. camp, as well as Benzino and The Source, came out with a song called Doomsday 2, where half the song is him going at his old rival Benzino, who formerly owned The Source and was famously trying to, out Eminem for being a white rapper and for using the N-word that one time. Like, Eminem still clearly has issues with that because he came out with a full lyrical attack on Benzino, and I was like, I don't know why he's revamping this beef in 2024, but I'm here for it because the lyrical jabs were amazing. And as a result of that, Benzino then came out with his own two songs going at Eminem, which admittedly, the second song he came out with, I don't remember the name of it, but like it was actually pretty decent. Like he had some good lyrical jabs in there. I'm like, oh, like Benzino actually stepped his pen game up. Spoiler, he had it ghostwritten. So he gets negative points for that. But just the fact that the beef is even happening, I was like, this is like the first or second week of January and already we got beef popping off. I thought that was going to be a big deal, right? But then the beef of all beefs happened, and I don't even know how this one started because these two initially did a song together and it was all great. But Megan Thee Stallion came out with a song called Hiss, where she was going at when I listened to it, I just thought she was going after like all the haters. Like, I didn't think she was going after anybody specific. I thought that she was just saying to all these people that have had issues with me or beefs with me or said I was lying in court when I said I got shot in the foot, like, I'm going after all of y'all, right? And then out of nowhere, Nicki Minaj, I guess, felt some kind of way about it and felt that Megan was directly dissing her. She came out with her own song that, in my opinion, was actually pretty weak. Like, for one, I'm all for a good beef, and I think Nicki has the potential to do a good job on a diss record. And she had a few lines here and there, but my problem was this. For one, her delivery was such that at certain parts of the song, she was talking kind of like this to where you couldn't understand what she was saying. And for me, I'll like your beef a lot more if I can actually understand what the heck you're actually talking about. But if I can't understand that, then unfortunately, you're already losing the battle. And then on top of that, at the end of the song portion, the remaining minute and a half of the end of the song was just her talking and saying basically like, hey, Megan, I got more stuff on you that I could come out with. Don't make me do it. Oh, my God. Now, Nicki's been around a lot longer. So you would think people would be on Nicki's side and that she would win the argument. But realistically, in terms of the beef song, her song actually wasn't all that great because you couldn't hear her in parts, and then she talked at the end. And Megan's was just like a 2.5 minute rant of just talking about everybody that kept you on your toes, and you could understand clearly what she was saying. So, of these two candidates, I would say Megan won. And clearly, the public at large agrees because Megan's Hiss song debuted at #1 on the Billboard chart. And Nicki's, it did not premiere in the top 20, so I don't know where it premiered, but needless to say, it was nowhere near as high as Megan's, and Megan's is getting played everywhere, So, but I put it out to say this, is that aside from me actually liking beef, here's something the industry gets that most people don't ever think about, right? Rap beef is actually good business for the industry at large, because whether people want to admit it or not, they get heavily invested in beef, and beef sells records and it sells concert tickets. And to the music industry at large, as long as it's doing those two things, selling tickets and selling albums, then beef will continue to be a thing. I know every time there's a beef that results in tragedy, people are like, oh my God, this senseless beef, it shouldn't have spoiled into this. We need to stop this. Beef is not stopping. Beef will stop the day that ABC and other shows stop putting out like housewife content, where all that is women fighting with each other and knocking things down and dragging cameramen and, oh my God, we need to be better than this. We're not better than this. Like, part of us wants to be peaceful and calm and get along with people, but the other side of us wants to see bloodshed and violence and people fighting. It is part of our nature, and the music industry knows that. That's why, even though, like, you know, I think back to when Tupac and Biggie were still alive. Rest in peace to both of them. But yeah, even when they had a beef popping off and they were putting on magazines, East Coast versus West Coast war, they weren't trying to stop that. Tupac was like, I mean, I want to stop, but it's good for business. I'm going to keep doing it. And then his life got ended. Oh, it was so sad. And then Biggie put out a record called Life After Death, where parts of that album was dissing Tupac even after he was dead. And then Biggie died. Oh, it's so sad. But both those beefs, for better or for worse, it created legacy, it sold records, and both Diddy and Snoop and Suge Knight and all of them were able to profit off of their deaths posthumously. So even in death, beef is still making money for somebody, okay? And obviously, then we go to the, with Jay-Z and Nas, they had their beef with Takeover versus Ether, and people thought that, Jay-Z lost that battle because Nas was like, his Ether was so much more powerful. Did he though? Because Jay-Z eventually ended up signing Nas for a little bit and working with him. And with that, Jay-Z got that money. So Jay-Z still won that. So even that beef, even when people lose beef, they can still make money off of it. But all I was to say is this, is that I'm here for the beef. I'd like to keep it on wax as long as people are showing their lyrical prowess and putting together good punchlines at the other person. Like back in the day when Ja Rule and 50 were going at it, like I listened to Ja Rule's diss songs. Oh my God, this is so amazing. He hit jabs. And then 50 put out a song. Oh my God, 50 songs even more amazing. Like regardless of who I thought did a better job, I like the idea that both artists were putting out jabs that I could be like objectively, oh, I can see how this hit would hit him. That totally makes sense, So I don't think rap beef server is going away. I think that as long as it's able to make money and get people profit and sell tickets and, all these other great things, that it's going to be around. I think beef can actually be healthy in some points in terms of like being showing the sports side of rap and the competition side and the lyrical side. I think all that's great. And even if they, in spilling off wax into like some actual violent stuff, which I don't think should be happening for the record, I think that ultimately beef is going to be here to stay and it's not going away. And you can hate that all day, but it's too bad, okay? So, but let me know your thoughts. Do you like rap beef? Do you think that rap beef should be a thing? Do you think people should let cooler heads prevail and not be dissing on record? Do you think it should be handled behind the scenes with the artists themselves versus going on wax for it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments because, hey, I could be tripping. I just know every time a new beef comes out, I'm like, I got to check it out. And I want to know if you think the same. But anyway, thanks for checking this out. I'm ABT Songs, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. I'm out. Peace.
All the girls in the place trying to get in my space, but I only want you. I only want you. Want to smile in my face and give themselves a taste, but I